Hello everyone and welcome back to the Candidates Question Time. My name is Tiana, I'm the Vice President Communities this year and I'll be leading the next section of the event. We're going to start off with the VP Communities roles. Just a quick update in general. Wait, actually let me refresh the screen. So we have a live vote counter on the website. So if you're interested in seeing how many votes have been cast, how many people have voted, then make sure to check out the elections website. So currently we have 1,371 voters with a total of 14,967 votes cast, which is crazy and really exciting, but obviously we still got a few days to go. So make sure to vote after this event and once you've heard from all the candidates. So can we get everyone who is a VP Communities candidate to put their hand up so we can make you a panelist? Just to talk about the role. So the Vice President Communities is another new role that started this year. So these candidates will be the second in the role. And the VP Communities looks out for the welfare of all the different communities of students that we have on campus. For example, students from LGBT or BAME backgrounds, international students, postgraduate students. They're also in charge of leading the liberation campaigns that we run throughout the year, sorry. So are we, So these are the candidates. I don't think every candidate is able to be here this evening, so make sure to look at the website and read everyone's manifesto before you make your decision on who to vote for. And yeah, I can only see one candidate, but I think there's more.
Tiana, we also have a video.
Oh, we also have a video from someone who couldn't make it. So I guess let's roll the tape. I don't know, play the video.
Hi guys, I'm Yash Kulati, running for your next VP Communities. I'm sorry I couldn't attend today's candidates meet as I'm in different time zone. If you have any queries or questions for me, just DM me on any platform. I'll reply as soon as possible. Do vote. Everybody's voice matters.
Cool, thank you to Yash for that video. We will now let each candidate introduce themselves. So same as before, if you can just say your name so we know how to pronounce it and what course you study. So I'm going to start with Mingyue. And please can you turn the camera on if possible?
Yeah.
Great.
Hi guys, I'm Mingyue, and you guys also can call me Cheryl. I'm a postgraduate student in banking and finance. Nice to meet you guys.
Thank you. I'll next go to Amna.
Hi, yeah, so I'm Amna and I am a second year maths and actuarial science student, yeah.
Cool, thank you. Next I will go to Finn.
Hi, I'm Finn. I'm a first year biomedical student and my pronouns are he, him.
Sweet, thank you, Finn. Next we have Yushan. Is that right?
Sorry, I think this might be my mistake. Yushan, can you just confirm whether that is your name or whether you're another person under this name?
Yeah, this is my name, but I'm not a candidate.
That's my mistake. I'm sorry. I'll take you off the panel now. Thanks, Jim.
No worries. Thanks, Tom. Is that everyone we have today? Just the three? I think that's everyone.
I think so, yes.
Cool. So let's start with questions. So if you have a question for any of the VP Communities candidates, please put your hand up now. But again, like the others, if not, I have some questions in mind. But yeah, feel free to raise your hand. I see one hand from Beatrix and one hand from Matthew. So we'll go Beatrix, then Matthew.
Oh, sorry. Yes, my question for the candidates is VP Communities covers a wide range of liberation roles. What will you do to ensure that all liberation roles are adequately represented and that you don't just represent a liberation group that you may be part of?
Thank you, Beatrix. Next we'll go to Matthew.
After Tiana and Cameron's tenure, how will each candidate take forth the current work done on Project Doctorate?
Cool. So I will repeat the questions just so you have an idea. So the first question is, how will you represent all liberation groups, not just the ones that you're part of? And the second one is, how will you continue the work that has been started this year on Project Doctorate, which is for PhD students? So I will start with Finn.
Hi. So to address the sort of first question on adequately representing all members of the community, I think I'm quite lucky. I can represent all three because I identify quite a lot with all three. I'm a third generation immigrant, identify in the LGBTQ+. Sorry, I'm trading words. And I also, of course, suffer from two disabilities, being dyslexia and dyspraxia. So I have equal interest in all three. And of course, I really care about them all. And I'm hoping to bring drive to all three. And to answer the second question, I'm afraid I don't know. Go ahead.
No, sorry, that was a hand saying you're halfway through time. Please continue.
Sorry, cool, no worries. And to answer the second question, I'm not 100% aware of Project Doctorate, but again, training-wise, we'll get that in the summer. I'm willing to keep invested in that, and we'll probably try to follow up any work that's been laid out by that, because anything to help with the postdoc and doctorates and the masters, try and help them integrate into the university, I'm big on, because I care a lot about integrating people and integrating different communities.
Cool, and that is time. Thank you. We'll go next to Mingyue.
Yeah, so for the first questions, I want to say that I'm actually one of the BAME, and I also can represent for women. But also, like, I want to say that I used to be a volunteer in like discovery, like volunteer organizations in Swansea universities. I have a touch with the different Russian peoples and with different interests, or maybe just LGBT and such. I also have the like patience and generous about how to help them and give them support. So no worry about this. But also with the second ones, I'm just a postgraduate student. I'm not familiar with like post PhD. So if you have any question or any support, just please email me, drop me an email. I will do what I can do. Thank you.
Thank you. I'll go next to Amna.
Hi, yeah. So I think in terms of answering both questions, it's kind of like a matter of handing over the mic to everyone else and trying to just make sure that everyone's voice is kind of heard. So that way we can kind of make sure that, you know, we cover all of the liberation rules and like all of the different communities that we have on campus and just in the wider society as well. And I think with my experience with like, say, president of Consulting Society and the Guild and stuff like that, I've kind of seen like the kind of different communities that we have on campus and how their needs differ as well. So that's one part. So I think in terms of Project Doctorate, I think I'm not entirely confident in what that is, but I think again, handing over the mic to, you know, the people and trying to understand what they want from their university experience, and also with my work with Consulting Society, I have a lot of like understanding of what postgraduates kind of look for in their uni experience. So yeah.
Perfect, thank you. Cool. We will go take another round of questions. I already see some hands up. So we've got one from Jack and one from Matt. So let's go to Jack first and then Matt. Or
oh, sorry, I was muted. Is it my question first? Sorry. Yes. Okay, cool, perfect. Thank you. Sorry, everybody. Yeah, question for everyone. So some of the manifestos for this role covered a lot of topics that weren't necessarily related to what the role is really about. And so I just was wondering what the candidates have done to learn about what the role is really about, and what steps they've taken to understand what will be required of them if they are elected.
Thank you, Jack. We'll take a second question from Matt.
Hi, thank you, Tiana, and hi everyone again. I just have a question. In your roles, you will be expected to work with a lot of the liberation reps that we have at QMSU. That will involve liberation reps for Mile End, but also Barts and the London. How have you accounted for this in your plans, and how do you expect to make sure you include all liberation reps, including those on different campuses, be it in the UK, in London, or abroad?
Thank you, Matt. So just to recap for you guys, the first question was kind of what have you done to learn about the role? And the second question was about making sure that you incorporate the liberation reps from Yale and from other campuses as well in your role. So same as before, you'll have a minute to answer both. I'm just getting my timer up. And this time I'm going to start with Amna.
Yeah, so of course, like the technical term for like vice president communities would be to, you know, make sure all of the liberation rules and things like that are kind of followed through with on campus, and kind of everyone is represented equally and stuff like that. And I think personally, as like my personal view on the role, I'd develop that into something like that's about everyone's individual university experience and making sure that everyone has the opportunities to kind of develop themselves professionally and individually as well. And of course, like everyone has different needs, so adapting them to like, you know, their specific needs, because it's not one size fits all as well. So that's one thing. And then I think the second thing would be, of course, like making sure you're in constant communication with everyone, because you can't really lose touch on like your surroundings, and just kind of making sure that you know, so like for example, if I bring up consulting society again, you're kind of managing loads of different things at once, so making sure I'm in constant contact and kind of getting a update on what's happening everywhere else. So yeah.
Thank you. That's time. So good timing. I'll go next to Mingwei.
Yeah, for the first questions, I want to say that like I've mentioned, I used to be volunteers. I get contact with the different peoples with their different needs. I always have the patience and have the empathetic about them question and their needs. So I trust that I have the ability to listen to all the voices asking for help, and I have the patience to help them solve all the problems, because since I'm also an international student who struggle with tons of problems, I quite understand their feelings. So I have no doubt that I can help them with my own knowledge. And for the second questions, like as a team member of executive officers, I want to collaborate with other team members, build a good teamwork between us. So I definitely have the enthusiastic about communications. So please have no worry about this. Thank you.
Thank you. So we have time for another round of questions. So does anyone else want to put their hand up with a question? Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Okay. Sorry about that.
No worries.
I'm getting ahead of myself. Yeah, you've got a minute to, do you want me to repeat the questions, or are you okay?
Yes, please, if that's all right. Sorry, I just lost my
train
train.
Yeah, no, that's fine. I feel so bad.
Don't worry, it's completely understandable.
It's not, but it's okay. So the first one was, what have you done to learn about the role of VP communities? And then the next one was about the liberation reps, having to work with liberation reps at other campuses like BL or campuses abroad. So you have a minute.
Cool. So to address the first question, I've been doing a lot of reading, and I've been looking through on Instagram, looking through QML communities, looking through their material, trying to gauge what the role will require of me. I've been trying to gauge from people what they want from me in the role. And of course, flexibility. I know that that's probably going to be the most adaptable part and the most key part to it, because it's a new role, new requirements are going to be required, new standards will be required. So I'm just being flexible with everything. But of course, I've done all the pre-reading and understanding for that material. To answer the second question on the sort of working with liberation reps and integrating all the members of the community, I personally am quite invested in BARTS and BARTS Malta. I'm quite intrigued in both, as I plan to go to med school as soon as I pass my undergraduate. So of course, I'm already trying to build those connections. So I feel like I'm getting that baseline communication with those groups of people so I can build up and up and up. I'm also trying to ask the right questions, trying to figure out what I'm needed for, and if I get into the role, what will be required.
Thank you. That was time as well. And apologies again. I won't do that again. Try my best. Okay, and now for real, we're gonna get some more questions. Oops, I pressed the wrong button. Bear with. Let's see if we have any. My laptop's so annoying. It's frozen, but give me one sec. Okay, unfrozen. So we've got one question from Sinfan, and if that's the only question, I have my question, but let's go to, oh, your hand's gone down again. If you have a question, please keep your hand up.
Yes, I have a question.
Great.
How do you gonna to reduce this discrimination with the students? How do you gonna to do to reduce discrimination with students? That's my question. Thank you.
Thank you. I think we'll just leave it at that one question because I don't want to run out of time. So this time I'll give you 30 seconds to answer the question. So how will you deal with discrimination at the university? So this time I will start with Yunwei.
Yep. For these questions, like I have like researched on the like websites that I see our activities like about the LGBT. We have LGBT month, maybe International Students Month. Most of them are separately. I want to help multicultural events to help all students have the opportunity to get in touch with the different cultural background, so they maybe have a better understanding with our like what we want, what we need, what we suffered. So maybe it can reduce the misunderstanding within the students. So that's what I want to do.
Cool. Thank you. That's time. I'll go to Finn next.
Cool. Mate, cool. So, I mean, discrimination is quite a broad topic, but I think often the majority of discrimination is based from a lack of understanding. So we have to address that problem first. We have to address why is there a lack of understanding, and that's just a lack of education. So we have to educate people in communities, different cultures, different disabilities, and how we can sort of bring them aware of these problems and try and make them aware. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm well aware that there are people out there who do not like people and knowingly, for no good reason, decide to be hateful and discriminate others. And we just have to have a zero tolerance policy for these sort of people. We have to address these people, we have to find them and deal with them.
Thank you. Thanks, Finn. That's time. Oh, that's my timer. And finally, we'll go to Amna, please.
Yeah, so I literally couldn't agree with Finn more. It's all about, educating people and making sure that they have that exposure to, different religions, ethnicities, different able people, etc. I think also, so of course, Queen Mary is an incredibly diverse university of so many different communities on campus. And I think moving from that equality to more of an inclusion to make sure like everyone's kind of involved in the university experience, no one's left out, and just kind of making sure it's kind of like a safe space for everyone. Yeah.
Thank you. That is time. So thank you all you guys for answering your questions. You now have 45 seconds to do your closing statements. Let me just start this timer. So this time I am going to start with, let's start with Finn.
Sorry, there we go. So, I mean, I think that we're just going back to that earlier point. I think discrimination, and I'm really aiming to bring sort of clarity and focus to this role. I'm aiming to bring my drive, my focus, and my unrelenting excellence. I'm trying to ensure that I'm broad and I understand a lot and read a lot and understand what's the problems facing this community and how to increase inclusivity for all members of this community, be it undergrad, postgrad, international, national, LGBTQ+, disabilities, anything. I'm trying to ensure that we get these basic sort of key things in so we can support everyone here.
Wonderful, thank you. Let's go next to Amna.
Yeah, so I think I just want to make sure that everyone has the best experience possible at uni. And I think that would be through, you know, bringing on lots of fun activities and educating people as well. And kind of like focusing more on the fun activities, maybe stuff like, you know, I mentioned puppy rooms and stuff like that on my Instagram. So, you know, things like that to like kind of bring people together and kind of just for everyone to really gain an understanding of each other to kind of get rid of, you know, any hatred. Yeah.
Thank you very much. And finally, let's go to Mingwei.
Yeah, so like I said before, like during this pandemic, many of us suffer tons of problems, maybe feel helpless or maybe isolated in the lockdown. So like, please feel free to contact me. Like I have the rest of my email address, and please to like not afraid to ask any question, because things like I used to bad at my English, I'm afraid to talk with others. So I want to encourage all students, like loud your need, like tell me what you want, and I will try my best to do for you. Thank you.
Thank you, and thanks to all of you for coming tonight. And don't forget, there's a couple other candidates as well, so everyone check out their manifestos on the website and be sure to vote.